I have a younger brother, Maximilian, who's 11 years old and has been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. ASD is a developmental disorder in which the brain has difficulty functioning with language, forming interpersonal relationships, and grasping abstract concepts. Developmentally, Max is at a 3.5-year-old level, and our daily home life has had numerous challenges. However, my parents have never allowed that to keep us from exploring the world. We've gone to over 30 countries, Max and I, and through these travels, although it's been difficult because traveling with an ASD child is difficult, we've learned how to negotiate these problems and gained enormous experience about traveling with an ASD child and enormous experience about the world around us. Empowerment is a word often used today, and it means authority or power given to someone to do something. It's often used and applied to people to whom we wish to endow a certain opportunity. Unfortunately, there are often opportunities we take for granted. That's what I wanted to do for the ASD community. I wanted to empower these families in order to get out and travel the world, in order for them to live life a lot fuller than they currently feel like they are able to. Break them out of their shell. So, I started writing. I started with the travel industry, and I learned that 1 in 68 people in the United States are born with ASD. And these families face so many daily life hurdles that they don't even consider traveling as an option. But I realized through my travels that with some small changes in various aspects of the travel industry, many ASD families could decide to travel. So I started writing. I wrote to airlines, airports, hotels, but to no avail. Nobody took the 16-year-old seriously. They didn't think I had anything important to say. But after many rejections, one hotel, the Sheraton Park Anaheim, a 500-room hotel resort near Disneyland, thought my ideas were worth listening to, and they invited me to present them. It was a bit intimidating, talking to a bunch of people in suits staring me down, but I did get their attention, and the general manager of the hotel was quite moved by my ideas. And after my presentation, he told me he wanted to implement them. So we called over a behavioral specialist, and we got the hotel staff to sit around, and the behavioral specialist talked to them about how to make a program to specialize autism facilities. How can we make their stay more comfortable? We prepared a pre-check-in questionnaire that allowed people and families to see what we had to offer. We offered things like rooms away from noisy areas, specialized locks on the doors, Wi-Fi, tablets, ASD-trained apps, DVD players, headphones, and the like. In the gift shop, we have diapers for older non-potty trained kids, because although Max is 11, he's developmentally at a 3.5-year-old level that isn't quite potty trained. We also have edible toothpaste and some other amenities like a larger stroller for rent, because a lot of times we don't want to carry that around. An important aspect as well was in the restaurant, we have gluten and casein-free menu items so that kids who are on certain medication are allowed to have the foods that they would like to enjoy. And ultimately, one of the most important aspects was the specialized babysitting services available. Oftentimes, hotels will offer babysitting service, but they're just generalized babysitting service. We've been rejected time and time again for babysitting because they don't know how to deal with somebody like Max. So now, at least at the Sheraton Park, there are people trained to deal with autistic kids and give parents some respite on their holiday. I named the program the Member of Autism Care Services, MACS, or MAX, in honor of my brother. Couldn't quite come up with anything with X, but it was close enough. And after 8 months of hard work, the MAX program was inaugurated at the Sheraton Park Anaheim on the 13th of August, 2017, and it made the front page of the Orange County Register. It was, to the best of my knowledge, the first kind of its program in the world, and I was really proud of making it. And it was really empowering to me to know that I was able to make a difference. And I hope it was empowering to ASD families as well. But I knew that couldn't be the last thing I did. I had to do more. So I started with the airline industry and the airport industry. So I went to the airlines and the airports, to John Wayne, and I said, this is what I would like to do. There are 3 specific aspects of the travel industry I thought we could fix with regard to airports. First of all, the check-in lines. The queues are often really long and unbearable for an ASD child in a new environment. They'll often act out. So what we decided was perhaps when they have those frequent flyer lines and the royalty lines, we could extend that so graciously to ASD families. So ASD families could be processed more quickly and more comfortably. Second, we have the security aspect as well. A lot of times these TSA agents are a bit of a hindrance. They're just doing their job. They're trying to make sure everything goes safely. But Max isn't able to understand, hold your hands up and walk through a metal detector. So just this basic understanding of what Max can and cannot do, what autistic families and children can and cannot do, will go a long way in maybe assisting these families through security clearance. And of course, specialized queues as well will work quite nicely. Thirdly, we have the airline itself, the boarding. Many families, when they board the aircraft, it's a hectic environment. Everybody's trying to shove their way to their seats. But if we allowed Max on first, or the autistic families on first, to get them situated, have Max be comfortable, we wouldn't have such a dilemma. Max would be comfortable and safe. He'd be less of a bother to us, less of a bother to everyone else around him, and the entire airline experience would be much better. So with those 3 ideas in mind, I presented my pitch to the Orange County Airport Commission, and they decided to implement my ideas as well. So after I got their clearance, we're now developing the actual program for this. The ultimate goal would be to have a global entry card for the MAX program. A global entry card is when somebody comes who's a frequent flyer and they have a really rigid interview to fill out an extensive form, and they get cleared to have parcel security clearance, as well as some pre-check-in privileges. So what would that mean for the MAX program? After extensive training and realization that this family actually does need help, we would allow these families parcel security clearance as well, and issue them a MAX card to know that, hey, I would be greatly requiring of some insistence if that would be okay, and go a long way in making everybody's experience much better. So we're going to try to do that with the John Wayne Airport. But importantly for today, the empowerment, how is the MAX program empowering, and for whom is it empowering? First and foremost, it's empowering for ASD families and ASD children. Like I said before, they'd be more inclined to travel, break out of their comfort zone, explore the world, and live a fuller life. I thought that was quite empowering with my first 2 ideas, and I hope I can continue it. It was very empowering to me as well. It was also empowering for the business individuals, people who would like to make obviously more revenue, but do the right thing and make a program that benefits so many, outside of maybe just hotels and airlines. Since the Sheraton Park is to be expanded throughout California and the United States, hopefully other general managers will catch on and implement it in their facilities as well. On the subject of facilities, the ADA, American with Disabilities Act, made physical disability accommodations commonplace. For instance, wheelchair ramps, as well as automatic door openers. Now, this would be greatly beneficial for these kind of people, but it's also beneficial to people who aren't just in need of a wheelchair. For instance, a mother pushing a kid on a stroller up on the curb, or a guy carrying an armful of packages through a door. Just like the MAX program could benefit other people, like cerebral palsy or Down syndrome, with their facilities in that way. Hopefully the MAX program will be able to extend to include much more disabilities that we initially imagined, and the scope of what I initially thought was possible would go far and beyond. Ultimately, I hope the MAX program is empowering for me as it is for you guys. And you guys would take this idea that somebody with just a small change in perspective, viewing it through my brother's eyes, viewing it through somebody else's eyes, viewing the world and seeing how we can make it better for them, was greatly empowering to me. Regardless of what your talents are, what your ideas are, all you need is a little bit of empathy and a bit of understanding, and we can go a long way in making the world a much more empowering place.